Hi everyone! Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amanda, and on this channel you will find information about what it's like to be a disabled Army wife, as well as other disability information. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Always so nice to see you. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 tips for things to consider before dating a military member. And these tips I was initially framing specifically for disabled people, but as I went through them, I realized that they're really important for anyone who might be kind of on the fence for one reason or another in regard to dating a military member. And also, just so you know, I am going to be looking at my notes on my computer, so if I look away for a second, that's why. But let's get into my tips. My first one is don't write off the person just because they're in the military. Find out if you like them first. You might be surprised. And I put this as the first one because this was a huge hang up for me. I was doing some online dating and I initially came across someone else before I met my husband, and this other person was in the Coast Guard, and I was like, you know what? I can't handle distance and all the stuff that comes with military, so no. And then I had a similar conversation when I learned that this guy I'd been dating, who later became my husband, was going to be joining the military soon. I frankly said to him, you know what, that's great. Thank you for wanting to serve your country, but I can't handle distance. But it didn't end up being that way. I decided to give it a shot and just see where it went. And boy, was I surprised. I married that guy. So that's number 1. Number 2. If you are disabled, be candid with the military member about your disability when you reach that comfort level. Let them know what you struggle with, what you can and can't do, what you are and aren't comfortable with. It's really important for you both to have an understanding of how your condition might impact your experience of military dating, much, even more so military marriage if it came to that. And on the same wavelength, for those of you who do not have a disability or chronic illness, be candid with the military member about the things that you're concerned about, whether it's distance or communication or something else entirely. Make sure that when you're comfortable enough with the military member that you are open and honest about the things that are concerning you. Okay, and number 3. My third tip is to journal. When you meet your military member or the military member, just journal about it. Journal about the feelings you have, the thoughts you have, your concerns, your frustrations, whatever it is about military life, whatever your questions are, anything that comes to your mind. Journal about it as often as you want to, as often as you can. That way, when you're at a make or break moment and having to decide one way or another if you're going to actually date this military member, or if you're further down the road and you're considering whether or not you could see yourself marrying the military member, it's really helpful to be able to go back into those journals and see your thought process, see what has changed about your mindset and what hasn't. For me, journaling came more in the form of letters to my now husband while he was at basic training. I noticed that I was writing him letters every single day while he was gone, and that was a huge indicator for me that it was worth giving this relationship a shot. And that's my third tip. And tip number 4, coming up. Talk with a friend or a family member who has been in the military or who is currently in the military. That person can shed some light on what the day-to-day life is like in basic training, in AIT, and then you're even better off if you're able to find someone who is currently doing the job, the MOS, that the service member that you're considering a relationship with, the job that person is either doing or about to do. That way you can have an idea of what their time commitments are, what it would be like to wait for a text message or a phone call, or if visits are possible in the sense of like having uninterrupted time, or if it's unlikely that you'd have just time to yourselves. For me, it was really helpful talking with a friend who had gone through basic training actually at the same place where my now husband went to basic training. I learned that it wasn't a huge deal that he wasn't able to call while he was at basic training, because guess what? Most of the time, they don't get their phones. And it also wasn't a huge deal that it took 2 weeks for a letter to come. Apparently that's normal. And just different things like that. It was really comforting to me to realize that that these things I was experiencing, the waiting game was normal, that missing him was normal, and just talking with my friend was an invaluable part of my consideration. So that is tip number 4. And tip number 5 is very simple, and honestly, it's pretty obvious, but I think it needs to be said anyway, and that's just simply to try it. And why do I say that? Why do I say that it's important to just try dating someone in the military? Because dating someone is not marrying them. Dating someone is getting to know someone, learning whether you are compatible in your lives, in your abilities, in your quirks, whatever the things may be. And if you're able to go visit your service member wherever he or she is stationed, then you have the chance to see a little bit of what military life is like. And that's super helpful. And yeah, you can't know if you haven't tried a little bit of what military life is like. And remember, dating is not engagement. Dating is not marriage. It's not a huge commitment. There is no harm in just trying. You never know. You could end up finding someone who ends up being a great friend. You could end up finding the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, like I did. You never know until you try. Yeah, I know, super cheesy. But if I keep on rambling, then you'll have nothing left to hear for the video that I'm going to post later on this week. And a little teaser, it's the video that I was going to be filming today, which is 5 things to know before marrying a military member. So if you're curious about that, click the notifications, be sure to subscribe, click the like button on this one, and I'll see you guys again in a couple of days. Thanks so much.